Happy March, Ram fans. What better way to start it than with the Monday Night Sports Show? I'm Rachel Hallam.
And I'm Ethan Bird. We have another show full of action for you all today. There were 4 Rams teams in action this week, and we will break it all down.
I have an update on Tiger Woods' current condition after his accident last week.
And of course, we will go at it again and down in the DM. Stay right there because CTV Sports starts right now. After 3 weeks of COVID-related cancellations, CSU men's hoops was back on the court on Saturday against Air Force. Will be joining the Rams in Moby right now. John Tonje muscling down the alley for the big dunk. I mean, he's got some of the best bunnies on the team. We're now going to be joining the Rams in the middle of a 7-0 run. And what do you know? Isaiah Stevens, his second 3 in a row, and he's going to smack that one. PJ Bird with the steal and the dunk. That dude's 6 foot. He just took flight, dunked it for the Rams. We're going to be joining Kendall Moore here, still looking for his first points of the night. 3 minutes left in the second. There he is. That's the dagger against Air Force. So the Rams would take game 1, 72-49. David Roddy was just shy of his 8th double-double of the season with 19 points and 8 rebounds. Isaiah Stevens matched him with 19 points of his own. But the deadliest part of this win was the Rams' second half shooting, hitting at a 73.9% mark by converting on 17 of their 23 attempts, improving Coach Medved's record against the Falcons to 5-0.
And just like the men, the women faced off against Air Force for the first game of their Falcon doubleheader on Saturday, and they controlled the game through and through. First, we're going to take a look at Mckenna Hoffshield. If you give her that much space past the three-point line, you better believe she's going to take her shot. She had 7 early on in the game. Rams took the lead real early. Williams to Meck to Clark for 2. Nice back and forth from the Rams, obviously dominating off the bat with their offense. Then we have Ellie Bonney to Tori Williams, who does what she does best, hits a 3. She was a star for the Rams on offense that night. And now we're going to look at Hoffshield again. Tries to take it up the middle herself. Instead, she dishes it to the outside to Jamie Bonnerins for a 3. And while she did well on offense, she also did well on defense. Brianna Autry-Thompson blocked by Bonnerins. Obviously, you can see Bonnerins was having a great night. All the Rams were. And after a matchup that saw CSU lead for all but the matchup's first 6 minutes, Coach Williams and company ended the afternoon at the Air Force Academy, crushing the Falcons 72-48. Tori Williams and Carly Murphy led the Rams offensively with 12 points apiece. The Rams kept shooting their shot with 43.5% from the field, 36.4% from beyond the arc, and a perfect 100% from the free throw line. On the other side of the court, Riley Snyder led the Falcons with 11 points and 3 rebounds, while her team was held to only 28.1% from the field. Now moving to a different net, there was a victory in Laramie, Wyoming for Ram volleyball this last week when they traveled up north to play in their first matchup of this year's border war between the CSU Rams and the Wyoming Cowgirls on Friday. Let's see how it all went down. Sierra Zimmerman obviously is great with the set to Zimmerman again with the kill, this time herself. And then we have Zimmerman. She is going to be a star for the Rams. Sets it again to Brianna Reynolds for a nice kill. Deja vu here again. Zimmerman to Van Leaf. Once again crushing the Wyoming Cowgirls on their defense. And Zimmerman again killer on the assist boards here. Hits Reynolds for that last one. And after all the hard work, head coach Tom Hilbert and company left the University of Wyoming Sports Complex late Friday night with a perfect sweep, beating the Cowgirls 3-0. CSU finished the match with a season-high 35.5% hitting percentage, along with an amazing 76.5% percentage in the final set. Brianna Reynolds once again led the offense with 18 kills, 4 digs, and a couple of aces. Sierra Zimmerman finished the night with an impressive 39 assists, and Alexa Rumeliotis held the defense together with 15 digs. After an impressive first game, the Rams stayed in Laramie to face off against the Cowgirls once again. But Ethan, that didn't go the same way this time.
Not quite. No, it did not, Rachel. The Rams had a chance to improve CSU Athletics' overall record in the Border War this year to 7-0. But Game 2 was all Cowgirls. We will be joining the Rams back in Laramie. Here, the set to Jackie McBride kill over Sierra Zimmerman, just missed by Brianna Runnels. And that set is going to go on the net attack for a kill for Abby Olson. And the tough and awkward set to Siza is handled and pretty much buried the Rams in Wyoming. They would win that fourth set, defeating the Rams 3-1. Brianna Runnels and Sasha Colombo led the offense with 18 and 11 kills in their own rights. Sierra Zimmerman had another 40-plus assist day with 43. However, the Rams were outblocked 14-9 and out-hit by the Cowboys by 8 percentage points. Colorado State will have this weekend off before traveling to San Jose State next week. Now, tonight at 8, right after this show, Rams men's basketball will be finishing their 2-game series against Air Force. What do you think folks will be needing to look out for tonight, Rachel?
Obviously, they're going to be looking for the Rams to come out with another win after beating the Falcons in their last game. But I think that the main thing that the Rams really need to look out for in this coming game is their improvement with their turnovers, especially after this last game against the Falcons.
Oh, yeah. Being there on Saturday, watching that first half was like basically watching a middle school basketball game. The Rams obviously coming off of 3 weeks of not playing. There's some rust there, but that much rust, I don't think I've ever seen Coach Medved that fired up. He was very upset. I mean,
surprising for a good win they had.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the scoreboard, you think you smashed them, but somehow you win a game like that with 20 turnovers. It just simply cannot happen again.
Obviously, hopefully the Rams are looking to improve on that and make sure that they don't do that tonight.
Nope.
But Rams, it is time for a quick break. Stay tuned for more news coming up next and down in the DMs later.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back.
when you want to talk, I'm here.
Welcome back from the break, Rams, and to our weekly CSU softball update, or really the lack thereof. For this week, Colorado State opened up the Wildcat Invitational in Tucson strong with a 6-4 win over Seattle University. Then later on in the day, on Thursday, CSU ran into number 3 ranked University of Arizona. The Rams lost 1-9 in 6 innings. On Friday, CSU met Seattle University again, but lost 3-5. But that is not the only thing the Rams lost after that. CSU had 4 games remaining, starting on Saturday against BYU, Oregon State, and a finale against University of Arizona. But all 4 games were canceled due to health and safety concerns, and the Rams returned home to Fort Collins. And that is all we know / have been told about the current situation. Now, barring any health and safety concerns, CSU will compete in the CSU-UNC tournament starting on Friday.
Moving from the diamond onto the green, last Tuesday saw massive news in both the golf and sporting worlds when pro golfer Tiger Woods was involved in what was called a high-speed single-car accident just outside Los Angeles. The 45-year-old legend required emergency surgery following the early morning crash after emergency responders had to actually use the jaws of life to remove the victim from his mangled car. Now, while the crash remains under investigation, authorities have already mentioned Woods was not believed to be under the influence and will not be charged with any criminal activity. And as of last Wednesday, he underwent several emergency procedures to repair significant orthopedic injuries to his lower right leg and ankle and is recovering well. Now looking at some tributes to Woods throughout the sport he loves so much, on Sunday during the WGC workday of the PGA Tour, other golfers honored Tiger Woods by wearing his classic red shirt and black pants combination. And after winning just his 4th PGA Tour event, rising golf star Colin Morikawa wanted to thank the only other player to have won a major and WGCA title before the age of 25.
Tiger means everything to me. And, you know, yes, he had the crash, and thankfully he's all right, and hopefully he has a quick and great recovery. But I don't think we say thank you enough. So I want to say thank you to Tiger because, you know, sometimes you lose people too early, and that's like, you know, Kobe. I lost my grandpa about a month ago, and you don't get to say thank you enough. So thank you, guys.
And with Tiger's recovery underway, golf and sports fans alike hope that he can recover from his lower body injuries and truly reinvent his game as he gets closer and closer to his 50th birthday. Only time will tell whether we've seen the last of one of the GOATs of golf or if Woods still has more left in the tank.
Well, you sure would hope to be able to see Tiger on a golf course again, but I think the bottom line is how big of a blessing it is that he was able to, or he's in stable condition now, and really a blessing for all of us to continue to have a legend in our lives.
Absolutely. I mean, anybody who could have been in this accident, it is a scary situation, no matter who it is. Luckily, obviously, it's awful that he's been in this accident, but it's lucky that he was just by himself and he didn't have anybody else have as traumatic of an injury as he did. But it's just so strange to see because the day before he was with other athletes like Dwayne Wade. He was hanging out with them. He was on his way to a photo shoot, and so it's crazy to think that 1 second made a difference in his situation.
It's all very, very humbling, I'm sure, for Tiger and also all of us. But I have a quick question, especially considering this pandemic. Do you ever feel like you're living in a bubble right now? Well, both of CSU's hoops teams are currently living in one. After their win against Air Force over the weekend, the men are now 15-4, keeping their at-large hopes alive. And according to ESPN's Joe Lenardi's latest bracketology, Colorado State is the very last team into this one, meaning they will conceivably face off against Xavier in the 12-seed play-in game. Now, Rachel, how are the women faring nationally?
Well, Ethan, that is a great question since both of them are sort of in the same situation. CSU's women's basketball is projected by ESPN as a 13th seed in the Mercado region of the NCAA Tournament as an automatic qualifier. Slated to take on the 4th seed Tennessee Volunteers out of the SEC in the round of 64 and sitting at the top of the Mountain West standings with a 15-2 record and 8 straight wins. I don't see why the Rams couldn't make their mark in the month of madness.
Well, yeah, and especially for this women's team, they've basically secured, for the most part, this #1 seed in the Mountain West tournament. And that's so important because the fact of the matter is the Mountain West women's basketball is a 1-seed conference. So whoever wins that tournament is going. And the Rams, they're faring pretty well for a projected 8th seed this year. And if the momentum carries, we might just be seeing them in the big dance.
Absolutely. 15-2 record right now. I mean, it's one of the best records we've seen in a while, and obviously it would be nice to see both of these teams go, but it just depends on hopefully the fact that nothing else gets postponed or canceled, ruining their chances for that.
I think the big thing for the men at this point is they have, tonight's game against Air Force, Wednesday's game against University of New Mexico and Moby, and then they visit Nevada. Really, all they have left are games that will hurt them. They have to finish this season out. They just have to win out. Make it to the tournament, make it deep. You can get in that large bid. But if the men lose a single game for the remainder of this season, the fact their bubble will probably burst.
Absolutely. It's going to be tough, but we'll see what they can do with that.
Well, Rams, the best time of the night is coming up next. Down in the DMs. Stick around.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up one finger if you're a man. Women, 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60. 2 over 50. 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now. So 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
It go down in the DM. It go down, it goes down in the DM. It go down, it go down in the DM. It go down, it go down.
Welcome back from the break and to another week of Down in the DMs. Our first question comes from Max Rutberg. What will the Patriots do at quarterback next season? Ethan, what do you got for me?
Well, I just kind of want to take a moment to just talk about how astounding it is that we're even asking the question, what will the Patriots be doing at quarterback? I didn't even think in my lifetime. I mean, that's a bit of hyperbole. But I did not think any time until Tom Brady retired that we would be asking this question.
Hey,
now,
you never know. That might be a lifetime at this point, too.
Yeah, it's just crazy. The quarterback situation for New England is troubling, to say the least. I mean, Cam said it himself. He said it would be remarkable if he returned to New England. I don't really think he and Bill Belichick meshed very well. So I'm going to go out on a limb.
Okay.
You know what New England needs.
I don't like the little smirk you got going
you know what
on
New
right
England
now,
needs
but
the
okay.
most.
I'm interested.
Some Fitz magic, baby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ryan
okay.
Fitzpatrick in a Patriots uniform for
Yeah.
1 year. Maybe if you can. I mean, or they could just be looking for their answer in the draft. Zach Wilson could very well fall to that number 15 spot that they have in the first round. So, I mean, if they really trust Zach Wilson that much, I doubt it. But let's see some Fitz magic in New England. I think that would be really fun.
I was really worried when you had a big smirk on your face as you started talking about where you were going to go with this, but I actually have to agree. I think Fitzpatrick would fit kind of well with the Patriots. I think that their best bet, honestly, is to dive into the free agency. Mm-hmm. I think that's where they're going to be able to find their key quarterback for this season, because it's been a long time since they actually picked somebody up in the draft as a quarterback. I mean, like you said, Tom Brady.
Yep.
It's been a long time since they've had to deal with trying to find a quarterback for this team. So I think they're going to have to dip their toes into the free agency a little bit. It's going to be hard for Belichick because I don't think he liked his experience with Cam Newton, like you said.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a step back and makes him think a little bit because he had such a good quarterback with Tom Brady, and he was so comfortable with his situation. So I do think that the free agency, I feel like I've repeated myself a little bit here, but that's okay. But yes, Fitzpatrick, I think that he's probably not going to ask for a big contract in that
maybe
aspect either.
I would predict like $10 million guaranteed for 1 year for
okay.
Ryan Fitzpatrick. I mean,
I wasn't going to say maybe more than
the
7.
Best.
But
I mean, New England's got the money, and Fitzpatrick knows that. But, I mean, that's still kind of a far-fetched thing. Jimmy Garoppolo is what we've heard is he's been available. We've heard about, Deshaun Watson. We've heard about
do you really
Russell
think Deshaun
Wilson.
Watson's going to be leaving
We've heard about
the Texans?
Oh, yeah. Deshaun Watson hates it in Texas.
Yeah, but do you think they're going to let him go?
I mean, if you offer up enough, it would have to be a deal to say no.
I mean, they just got rid of J.J. Watt, though, too, so
yeah, I mean,
you never know what
I
this
just feel
team's
bad
gonna
for
do.
any Texas fans out there. But, I mean, New England's situation is very, very, very intriguing, no?
Yeah, absolutely. Can we take one look at the Colts, though, in their situation? Because they just got Carson Wentz. What about Jacoby Brissett? He is in
He'll be
free
returning.
agency. Yeah.
No, yeah, I mean,
he's also had some experience with the Patriots before. He's looking for a potential one-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's a good bet for the Patriots.
I like that idea. Let's put a pin in it and talk about it later. And now, from our friend Ryan Malone, Rachel, which NBA team is a front runner for the best squad in the East?
I'm very curious what you're going to do for this one, but that's okay. I know that this question comes with some heart behind it, too, because people are going to want us to pick the Celtics for this. But I am going to disagree with that wholeheartedly. I'm sorry to Ryan, who asked this question. But I'm going to go with the Brooklyn Nets, actually.
The Nets?
Yes.
Okay.
They are second in the conference at 22-13, and they have 3 players on their team. KD at 29 points per game average right now, Kyrie with 27.4, and Harden with 25.2. And all 3 of them are on the same team, and this has never been done in NBA history. I think they're going to take it.
Okay, that's fair. You know, everybody sees offensive star power and like, nah. And I know Jared's up there, and he's going to be pretty upset about this one. But, you know, the Bucks are and will be the best team in the East. And the reason the Nets aren't, so you can score 150 points a game, but if you're giving up 160 every time, you ain't going to win nothing. And that's when they're playing real competition in the playoffs, even if they make it to the finals, they'll play a real team, a real defensive and also equally offensively good team in the West. The Nets, they're going to buckle. And when you have, you know, the heads, I can't even imagine. It gives me a headache thinking about being in a locker room with James Harden and Kyrie Irving. And I mean, KD is probably the most mild of the 3, which is saying something.
That's still, yeah.
So how long until the Nets locker room implodes? And how long until their offense can't keep up with the abysmal lack of defense? I mean, you don't even have to really. I mean, the Bucks have the top offensive rating in the whole league, 117.7.
They're still in 3rd right now, though.
There's just a game back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very competitive 1 through 3 in the East.
Absolutely.
Don't get me wrong.
I like how neither of us actually picked the 76ers to win, even though they're in first place of the conference right now.
That's what happens when you have the 2nd best center in the league. And not the best center in the league.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sticking with the Nets. I'll be honest, it was a toss-up between the Nets and the Bucks, but I think the Bucks are going to buckle under the pressure, actually.
Oh, that was why would you say that?
Okay, so you can say stuff like that on every other week, but the one time I say it, you're going to
It was good. Buckle under pressure. You know, I'm just mad
I thought you were going to say it honestly at first because you said buckle, and I was thinking that's what was going to happen.
I didn't think about it first, but, you know, it's hard to really judge either team when your 5 through 7 seeds in the East are all 17-17, including the Celtics.
Yeah.
There's no. I mean, there's outside of the top 3 teams in the East, it's just very little to no competition.
Yeah.
I mean, the New York Knicks are in a playoff spot. I mean, come on. Maybe next week we could talk about the West, and that'll be a little bit more fun, yeah?
Oh, I'd be good with that one.
Okay, count it.
Hopefully somebody gives us a question next week on the West. I would love to argue about this with Ethan, even though we argue about any and everything. But anyway, we'll move on to our last question of the night. Ethan, is Gonzaga considered to lock in a win for this year?
It's so hard to say no. Like, I know you've got Baylor, and Michigan is deciding to be really good all of a sudden, and Michigan looks really promising, but you want to talk about dominance, you talk about these Gonzaga Bulldogs. And and if you're looking at most of the professional big brackets, Gonzaga almost always has the easiest region and the easiest path to a NCAA championship game.
It's like watching Alabama in college football.
Yeah, that's probably what it will be this year. I mean, it's March Madness, anything can happen. Corey Crispert is so cold. I mean, that dude can ball. They're averaging 92.9 points per game. If we're just think about how dominant you have to be in NCAA basketball to be 24-0. Think about how good you have to be to score 92.9 points a game. We might never see an offense this good again in NCAA basketball.
Okay, but remember what you said. They have a pretty easy season lineup when they come into it. You got to take that into account. Although I'm in agreement with you. I do think that they have a pretty good lock, basically, to go to the very end for the March Madness tournament. I mean, 24-0 in the WCC, that's just crazy in the first place.
It's ridiculous.
But bring back Michigan. I mean, you looked at the top schools for college basketball, and you have Gonzaga and Baylor, and they were pretty much at the top, and nobody was near them for a while.
You were just waiting for somebody to lose.
Absolutely. And then Michigan just comes out of nowhere and takes that top 2 spot. So like you said, you never know, especially with March Madness. You could have a Cinderella story come out of nowhere, so who knows?
2 years ago, we saw a 16 seed fall for the first time. It's not going to be Gonzaga, or a 16 seed win, not fall. It's not, Gonzaga is not going to lose to a 16 seed. If that happens,
Please say something so I can actually do it when it happens.
It's not going to happen.
But if it does, you were about to say, if it happens,
I didn't think that far in my head. I had not gotten that far in my head yet. I will think about that.
We should just have them choose.
Oh, yeah. If Gonzaga does lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament, I want to hear from all of you what I should do. Please keep it kind of nice, and remember, I don't have much.
And so, please do so, because I will enforce it and make sure that this happens.
It's not going to happen.
I'm just saying, on the off chance that something happens, because you never know.
What if I go? I mean, it's no way Gonzaga loses. I haven't gotten myself into anything. But yeah, just
shaking in his boots now.
We're getting weird about it.
Anyway, that is all the time that we have for tonight. To stay updated on all the CSU games coming up this week, make sure to follow us at sports_CTV on both Twitter and Instagram. I'm Rachel Hallam.
And I am Ethan Bird. Tune in at the same time tomorrow night to catch Ellison's top play of the week. Here is to a much better March than we had last year. Good night, Rams.